Former New Jersey Governor Richard Codey has died. His family says the state's longest serving lawmaker was 79 when he passed early yesterday after a brief illness. Codey was a Democrat, though he had lots of friends on the other side of the aisle. He became acting governor when Governor Jim McGreevey stepped down November of 2004. He served out the last 2 years of McGreevey's term and then returned to the state Senate, humble man that he was. Codey lived in Roseland for many years, right until he passed. His family will announce funeral plans in the days ahead, but he is one of those universally loved people in New Jersey politics. And to share her stories about her experiences with the late governor is Laura Jones, host of New Jersey Politics with Laura Jones, seen weekends here on New Jersey. Good morning to you, Laura.
Good morning, Ken. Good to see you.
Good to see you always. Thank you for getting up early for us. Governor Codey, and I always forget because he filled in as the acting governor before we had a lieutenant governor, and he was the president of the Senate. He filled in so many times, right? For like 3 or 4 different times, he filled in for periods of time as acting governor that I forget that he actually served as governor when McGreevey stepped down. He was one of those universally liked characters everybody in media and in politics, whether you were right or left, seemed to get along with just fine. One of those rare people, like the Tip O'Neill of his day. Am I wrong?
You're right. I mean, you don't stay in Trenton for 50 years, the longest serving legislature, without understanding politics, without understanding the dynamics of Trenton, without being able to work across the aisle. And that's the thing as a reporter that you get to witness, you get to see. You see people, leadership in Trenton, you see lawmakers, vigorously arguing for what they believe in, disagreeing vehemently. And then when the session is over, you see them in the halls talking together, relating. The thing about Dick Codey is, as much as he was a politician, he really connected with people. And I think that that is really so much of his legacy. When I think about the times that I interacted with him, he wasn't just talking to me. He would talk with my crew. He would talk to the people around. He connected with people so much. And that really is kind of what stands out. Well, so many
And he
things stand.
Yeah, he was the longest. I mean, think about that. New Jersey is, we think of it, oh, it's been here forever. It's 250 years old and 20% of the existence of the state of New Jersey. 20%. This man was in state politics. 20%. That's astounding. That's got to be. I mean, we know it's the longest, but I mean, I doubt anyone could ever break that record.
And the other thing, very true, very true. The other thing, when you think about Dick Codey, is New Jersey has changed. We now have an office of lieutenant governor, but you mentioned he had been acting governor. So in New Jersey, just a quick history, up until 2005, it wasn't until Kim Godano, Chris Christie, did we ever have a lieutenant governor. So we only had governor. So if the governor wasn't able to serve, the Senate president took over. So not only did the Senate president you had to continue to be the Senate president in order to be the acting governor. So not only could he propose legislation, he could sign the legislation, then enact the legislation. Extraordinary power. And this, again, is going back to when he was Senate president. And there was a time after Christy Whitman had left to go work for George Bush's administration as EPA director. Then Don DeFrancesco decided he was not going to run. There was a week in between, right? Because tomorrow the legislature changes. The week before the legislature has a new session and the week before a governor sworn in. So there was a 1 week period where you had, and the Senate was split 50-50. So there were two co-Senate presidents, Dick Codey and John Bennett. And so you had 3.5 days of a Codey administration and 3.5 days of a John Bennett administration. So, back and forth throughout the years, he has stepped up as acting governor. One of the things that he did before he left office is signed into law what would make New Jersey have a lieutenant governor. And what he did is he signed it retroactively, so it would also apply to former acting governor Don DeFrancesco, who took over for Christy Whitman when she left 2001 to become administrator of the EPA. And when you would see him out and about, you would say, Senator, Governor, what do we call you? And he would say, was Gerald Ford elected? No. Okay, so do you still call him president? Yes. He's like, Governor. So, but he
Right.
didn't do it in a way that was condescending. It was playful. It was kind. It was engaging. He could be fierce as anybody, but he also was very, very personable. Loved to talk basketball. Signed a basketball for my son Jack once he knew that he liked to play basketball. Really, really great guy.
I know his neighbors in Roseland. He's just a local Roseland dude, raised his family there. Everybody knows where he lives. Oh yeah, that's Cody's house. Just a
And he's
nice guy.
he's an undertaker. He was funeral
Yes,
director.
he had a
Funeral
couple
director.
of locations, right? He had
We
a
would
couple
talk
of
about
funeral
that.
homes.
Yeah, So he would talk about that. I mean, and that's the thing. He wasn't always talking about politics. You would be just talking about regular stuff. He's like, I gotta get to a funeral. Got to get to do this, that, the other. And then
Yep.
you just realize, wow, what an extraordinary life.
But that's what politics used to be. It used to be citizen politicians, right? These were years ago, everybody in politics had their own business or job that they would temporarily leave to come serve, and then they'd go back. I mean,
I
things
mean,
have changed.
when he was sworn in as acting governor, when Jim McGreevey resigned, stayed for 14 months in office, he did it at his house. He didn't have a big swearing in. I came to his house to interview him. And if you ask me, what did we talk about? I don't really remember. I mean, I do remember, but I remember him welcoming me into his home. I don't think that would happen now.
No.
Things are so managed through social media. Don't even get me started about, the state house and how it's really locked down and the accessibility. But really, with the passing of Dick Codey and also recently Jim Florio, the access to our lawmakers, it isn't what it used to be. A former colleague of mine passed away, Dan Weissman, Star Ledger, just a
Mhm.
couple weeks ago, and I was talking with other reporters, and it is definitely there's such a shift in Trenton right now, and having those relationships, those conversations that you can have in the halls of Trenton, they don't always happen now. So I certainly cherish those moments. I feel very blessed that I was able to witness history, an extraordinary time of history that he was able to shepherd the state through. I mean, Jim McGreevey resigning, the craziness that happened when Christy Whitman left office, and then Don DeFrancesco decided he wouldn't win, and then we had 6 governors in 7 days, or 5 governors in a few days, just the way that New Jersey's Constitution was written. But then that was changed, and now we have a lieutenant governor.
I'm convinced that when they wrote the Constitution, the men, and it was all men then, had a couple of cups of grog, as they say, "Tina,
Yeah, a good
I
person to
got
talk
this
to
in a
about
couple
that.
of days."
Leonard Lance, his father or grandfather was part of that constitutional convention the last time they had rewritten it. So it's there are little pockets of history and people in New Jersey who just still know so much, and it's an extraordinary history, and it's a real
I love
privilege
it.
to be able to
I
share it.
love it. All right, Laura Jones, host of New Jersey Politics with Laura Jones, seen weekends here on New Jersey, talking about the late Richard Codey, our former governor. May he rest in peace. Thank you again, Laura, for being here.
Good seeing you, Ken.